Hello guys, Mr. Fluffy Pants here. Today guys, they're reviewing. Today guys, I'm reviewing the Haunting of Bly Manor, which is a new Netflix show, which is, kind of a, not really sequel, but kind of I guess in an anthology kind of series. It's kind of like the sequel, but, it's not like connected anyway to The Haunting of Hill House, which, I absolutely loved, and, that's easily one of my favorite Netflix shows, and so I was highly anticipating this one, and, Mike Flanagan, I absolutely love him, I love Dr. Sleep and all. He's a producer and all, and he directed like the first episode of the show. So, if you're any at all interested in this, I would definitely suggest it. But don't be expecting it to be, have as many like, scares and haunts and that kind of stuff as the Haunting of Hill House. I would definitely say this is more love centric than really horror centric, like more romance centric, but. Kind of take that in with you and you might enjoy it a little bit better. But overall, though, I do really like this show. The first part's going to be spoilers, and then I'll let you guys know when I start talking about spoilers because, there's some pretty juicy spoilers. But, so the first episode's really good in the series, and then after about the little bit into the second episode, it starts to drag. Don't get me wrong, like, it's enjoyable watching these characters, but after a while, you're like, come on, I just really want something to happen. And then around episode 4 and 5, it just really turns into, like, a fever dream. Like, if I ever seen fever dream, like, put on film, this is definitely that, but... And then, like, the last 2 to 3 episodes are absolutely amazing because, I was watching it and I was like, man, this is being a real bore and drag. And I was like, maybe I should turn off. I was like, you know what? No, because I bet the payoff is going to be absolutely spectacular, and it really is. So if you guys start watching it and, it starts to drag a little bit, just trust me, the payoff at the end of the series is well warranted, which... that's the only thing, I kind of had to knock about this series that wasn't really with Hill House was, there wasn't really a low point. If there was, though, it was really enjoyable to watch. But, this show, it kind of like drags its feet for a little bit, and, especially when they start getting into, like, the actual love background and whatnot. But overall, though, like I said, payoff is absolutely spectacular. So that's it for my non-spoiler review. I probably give this show overall, though, like maybe like a 7 out of 10. Like I said, not as good as Hill House. Like, I gave Hill House like a 9.8 or something like that. I don't exactly remember, but it was definitely high 9s. But definitely I would say a decent follow-up, just not the best, especially like the mid like episodes in the season. But like I said, payoff's absolutely spectacular, and that's really why the rating is so high. But now we're going to get into some of the spoiler talk, and so let me just go and get this out of the way. Like, holy crap, those last 2 episodes are absolutely oh my goodness, those are so good, especially whenever you get the whole background episode about who the lady in the lake is. And let me just say, the lady in the lake is like absolutely terrifying, and like the whole narrator thing. There's just so much stuff to talk about in this show. I'm probably gonna miss a lot of it, but the lady in the lake being one of the previous owners of Bly Manor, and how she was kind of forgotten or whatnot. The whole background with her sister and whatnot, and they threw the chest at the bottom of the lake because her husband or whatnot was kind of superstitious after her sister died from it, because then they got married or whatnot. So they threw it at the bottom of the lake, and that's where she's been sitting. And then she kind of put like this curse. Anybody that dies on the ground, kind of is like an anchor there, and they describe it as kind of like a gravity well. So over time, she, sleeps, forgets, and fades a little bit. And then eventually, her face, she don't have any features on it. She's just kind of not really even a memory anymore, like, just kind of there, which is, really horrifying, about the whole thing about mortality and kind of all that. And especially, like, the way the narrator, like, is saying it all. It's just absolutely terrifying. You see, like, some of these ghosts we've seen throughout the season, like, the little boy without a face is just a victim. She just happens to, pick up because she's like, maybe it's just my child, maybe not, I don't really remember. But, she drags it to the lake or whatnot, and we see, like, the really creepy-ass plague doctor, which I've been seeing since, like, the first episode. I was like, holy crap, that is absolutely terrifying. And I was like, I really want to see where this is going to go. And, you see that kind of tie-in or whatnot. And then you get, especially, like, earlier in the season, whenever you see Peter's character just straight up get grabbed by the neck and then he dies like that, I'm like, okay. And then, you learn later that, that was just one of, Viola's kind of... every once in a while she would travel the same path, go to her bedroom, and then go back. And every once in a while, people would die because, they get caught in her path or whatnot, which, like I said, absolutely terrifying. And, there's Peter and Mrs. I forgot her name, but Rebecca's whole love story thing, which, it's kind of like a forbidden love kind of thing. He's kind of a bad guy. He's trying to get him and Rebecca out of there through the kids in the show, which those kids are absolutely creepy and terrifying at times. And, you learn throughout the show, whenever Miles is kind of being really creepy, it's just Peter pretty much possessing him. And same thing with Viola, or no, not Viola, Flora, which, yeah, so that's kind of, that whole kind of thing. At the end, he's like, man, I'm so sorry, or whatnot. And it is kind of interesting because, you hear at the beginning of the series, how the previous ox pair, they found her dead in the lake or whatnot. So you see that whole thing, and that's just absolutely heartbreaking. And this show gets like some really dark places, and it's really depressing sometimes, especially near the end of the series. But like, especially whenever our main character, what's her face? I don't actually remember. Danny. Because her and Jamie are living happy or whatnot, but then she because she had to save the kids or whatnot. She kind of let the spirit of Viola come into her, and then she starts feeling as she describes, the beast in the jungle coming up towards her. So she kind of runs away because her and Jamie lived happy for years and years on end, and then eventually she's like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to put your danger in safety or your safety in danger or whatnot. So she goes back to the lake at Bly Manor, and she pretty much dies. And Jamie's like, yeah, because she's the one that's been narrating this whole time. We learn later that it's actually Flora getting married, and we learned from some some exposition earlier that the kids don't really remember anything. But also, my favorite character is definitely Owen. I absolutely love Owen. I'm glad he opened up his own little restaurant and all that. But that Jamie's telling the whole story or whatnot, Bly Manor, and that's just kind of an interesting. So kind of did happen. You kind of leave it up to your imagination if that did or did not happen. But once the pieces near the end of the series start falling together, it is absolutely spectacular and one of the best payoffs. Like, I absolutely love when all the pieces start falling together, with the love stories or whatnot. And then, and then the second last episode is pretty much just a whole kind of flashback episode. And then that kind of fills in some pieces too. And, that episode is absolutely depressing, like, with all end on it. And, whenever, like I said, when all the pieces start falling together, it is absolutely wonderful. And especially with, the whole realization that, Hannah has been dead for at least a little bit now. It doesn't exactly show when she died. Like, they said it was an accident. She fell down the well or whatnot. But that kind of ties in with the whole crack thing. She kept saying, it was that crack in the rock at the bottom of the well. And once she pieced that together, I'm like, oh, that makes so much more sense now. Her character is also very, very tragic. Her not really forbidden love with Owen, but just kind of her. She didn't really get to go for it before she got the axe or whatnot. And also Henry's character, I absolutely love his character. Him and Owen are my favorite characters in the show. But his whole thing with it's kind of his fault that the kids' parents died or whatnot. And I love how he hasn't really seen them in years or whatnot, but he comes because he's like, yeah, I feel something's wrong. And his whole alter ego and all that. And he's pretty much living at his office. And thankfully him and the kids get like a whole happy ending or whatnot. But like I said, this show's got so many twists and turns. And if you're able to stick it out through those rough or kind of slow patches, like, the ending's absolutely worth it. Like, I love it so much. The way that the love stories, which you can kind of get in and out of throughout the show, especially the tragic part. Peter ends up making Rebecca drown herself. Not really though, kind of ish. And her sobbing and whatnot. Her spirit's anchored there because of Viola's spirit. But like I said, when the pieces, I know I said this a lot, but when the pieces start finally coming together, like, this show is at its best. Like, it is just so good and so tragic and so depressing, but so good at the same time. Like, the happy endings are very happy, the sad endings are very sad. But the Haunting of Bly Manor, I definitely think that the show does do the ending a little bit better than Hill House, which I've seen the consensus a lot. But I do think, once the pieces start coming together, even more so than Hill House, like, whenever you start piecing everything together and be like, oh, okay, this is that, and this is why that, and all that, it's definitely a lot better realization. But overall, though, I think the package with the overall, like, idea of Hill House is a lot better, in my opinion. Like I said, probably give this, like, a 7 out of 10. Like I said, when this show drags, it really drags. But whenever it's at its high points, it's at its really high points. But Anyway, guys, let me know what you guys thought about The Haunting of Bly Manor down below. Did it live up to your guys' expectations? Were you disappointed? And what did you think about, the whole kind of shift from horror to kind of gothic romance or whatnot? But anyway, guys, check out my Twitter and Discord, link in the description. Like and subscribe for more. Check out some other videos, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!